Hey, what's up, guys? So I got asked by a colleague how I was able to sell over $1 million so fast, starting with just $100 in a truck while living in Puerto Rico, 3,000 miles away from my challenge contractor company in Seattle. In fact, we got it done in less than 90 days from start while wasting 5 days in Dallas. So here's what I mean. For those of you who don't know, I'm Lane Boland. I am founder of Remodel Commanders. In the last 12 months, we've liberated over 30 remodelers from the tyranny of being on the tools, where the average GC who implemented all our systems grew by $1 million. Anyhow, back in January, I started a contractor challenge to build a $2 million contractor in a year with just $100. Proceeds go to charity. Anyway, so here's how I got the first million sold so fast. Number one, I'm an incompetent craftsman. Number two, don't ask me to cope an inside corner. Number three, rake to me refers to the fee a casino charges at the poker table. Number four, I can tell you what a jack stud is, but don't ask me to install one. Number five, I suck at estimating. Number six, I can't draw in CAD, Revit, or Chief. Seven, don't ask me to tell you the difference between modern and contemporary design styles. Guys, I am basically useless inside the remodeling design and build process. But I have three skill sets. I have three skill sets that make that previous statement completely irrelevant to getting to 1 million sold in design within 90 days. And those three skills are sales, recruiting, and KPI-based management. So here's the deal. Lacking these three skills keeps you on the tools and in the field. Why? Because under pressure, the path of least resistance is to do it yourself. There will be no growth without pressure. Therefore, until you break this habit, you're not going to grow or get off the tools. So we have a simple question to ask ourselves. Which is more plentiful, time or money? If you're short on time, leverage money to purchase your three missing skills from other people's time. If you're short on money, then we have to develop those skills ourselves. Or do we? This is something I relearned during the challenge. Sales and recruiting, they're the same skill, just different products and different customers. Here's something else I learned to be true. Persuasion, which is the root skill of sales and recruiting, is 80% your offer and 20% your delivery tactics. So we don't necessarily need to take the 10,000 hours to master persuasion and another 10,000 hours to master management to pull this off. We don't have time for that. No, all we need to do is learn how to craft a nuclear offer. And a nuclear offer has four components. One, it directly solves your customer's most painful problem. Two, does it faster than any other option. Three, as close to 100% guarantee of success as you can get. Four, lastly, it doesn't require any extra effort more than just choosing to work with you. You have those four components, you have a nuclear offer where a person is silly to say no to you if, in fact, they have the problem they say they have. So what does this look like in action? Let's say I suck at sales and need to recruit a 10 of 10 sales talent to keep the high dollar projects rolling in while I build them out. Okay. Let's also say I'm short on cash and can't afford to guarantee a big base salary, knowing the best talent aren't working commission-only jobs. Let's also say I need someone fast and I don't have time to learn sales. And let's say this is the first time I've ever heard or read or watched anything about recruiting. This is what I would do in 4 steps. 1, I would craft a nuclear offer. 2, post that nuke on Indeed. 3, corral those resumes into a group Zoom interview. 4, figure out who the top 10% are, invite them to a one-on-one, and hire the first person to accept my offer. How do I know if somebody's top 10%? If they can teach me something that I don't understand. If they can teach me, they're better than me. I immediately call that person top 10%. So it all hinges on that nuke. So let's break it down into 4 questions and their answers. So what is this person's most painful problem? Probably balancing uncapped earning potential with income guarantees with employer stability. Number 2 is, how fast are their options to solve that problem? And the answer is probably a 3 to 6 month process to learn a new product line and a new employer, God forbid, a new industry. Number 3, how guaranteed are those options? And the answer is, in sales, there are no guarantees other than the implied owner's brand and size, which creates a problem for me as a startup. And number 4, this person's probably asking, how much training does it require to switch jobs? And the answer is normally tons. The best sales reps typically will niche to an industry, and we don't want to confine ourselves just to construction sales professionals because we're just looking for raw talent. We don't have the time to go find that needle in a haystack. And so this is how I unlocked 10 of 10 talent to sell for me when during the challenge I was short on cash and living 3,000 miles away from Seattle in Puerto Rico. And what I did was I used a nuke. And that nuke for my 4 components was, number 1, I painted a picture how their on target earnings are 130 to 250K per year. And I dangled partnership opportunity in front of them. Number 2, I said they could start production in 2 weeks and that they would start part-time, keeping their day job, keeping their income, and that they would keep their day job until this thing that is NSS Bellevue matured. And that their compensation for taking that risk with their quote unquote free time was the partnership. So then number 3, how guaranteed are those options? Well, I was paying 10 to 15% of gross profit of the jobs we put in the build. Now that's problematic because design build has a 3 to 6 month sales cycle. And so what I told them was that you would get partnership in lieu of a base salary when $2 million is sold into design and in production. That way I'm flush with cash. And that I guarantee $2 million will be sold in 6 months, provided the following KPIs are hit. Number 1, that they meet with a realtor or a designer daily. That's 1 to 2 hours a day. Number 2, all leads are called daily. That's really 1 hour a day. Okay. So we're looking at 3 hours a day to earn partnership in a multi-million-dollar construction company. Then number 3, 3 proposals are delivered per month. That's about 4.5 hours a month. And I knew that would turn into a contract and that we would target only additions and whole home remodels with average tickets of 400K. And I set the expectation with Peter Detweiler, that 10 of 10 sales talent who I made a partner in NSS Bellevue. I told him, it's going to take 4 to 5 months of part-time effort for us to get $2 million put into design, and that will speed up. Yeah, and that's just on the strength of your networking, that this would speed up when we could turn on ads with the first 1 or 2 design agreements sold. And so this offer would not work for everybody. This had to be the right guy who was a crazy good sales talent, who was in a position to take some risks with free time, who valued the security of their current job, but was attracted by the irresistible allure of developing a K2 relationship. In other words, becoming a partner in something, not just a well-compensated hired gun. Right. And so the last piece, how much training does it require to switch jobs? Well, in this role, all they're doing, I only need them to master construction terminology and our specific sales and design process versus our competitors in a structured 2-week training. And then from there, just being able to follow our process for how to meet these realtors and designers. That's all it took, was just 2 weeks of part-time effort before he would be in production. So from Peter's perspective, on a cash basis, this was an absolute free roll. and that he'd be more than compensated because at 2 million put into design, that's our trigger to move him to full-time and also make him a partner in the firm. And so that's how I got that talent. For the time being, when I didn't have the cash for ads, I traded, basically what it's called comes down to is I traded a negotiated partnership to work part-time, running my business development process until we got the cash to replace his income with a draw against commissions, award him equity in the firm, and have him come full-time, which he starts full-time in 2 weeks. It's amazing. So, which implies we have like 2 million coming into design. But anyway, so, and again, guys, it worked beautifully. I told you, like, Peter is on pace to put 2 million into design by end of June, probably end of May, keeping us on pace to build $2 million by January inside this challenge. And so the whole point of this video, guys, is there's always a way to win. You just have to understand who you need and the skills you need and the skills they need to have that you don't have. Okay. What they want, and for you to be creative enough to structure a low risk way for them to get it. Okay. So in this case, again, the sales expert, Peter, was enticed by partnership opportunity with the security of his full-time job, only risking his quote unquote free time. It's food for thought, guys. There's more than one way to skin this cat. And if you want to increase your numbers of high margin 6 to 7 figure remodels, make sure to grab your free copy of our referral cyclone method, which is the same SOP that Peter is using, that I use to train my own sales force to get free dream clients from designers and architects. You can get your copy in the notes below. And if you want to dive further into best practices for how to build a profitable residential general contractor that runs on systems instead of the owner, be sure to subscribe to the channel in the notes below. And anyway, when you subscribe to the channel, be sure to check out more of our best practices. So guys, stay tenacious.